What is up, people, and welcome back to my Rags to Riches F1 2010 to 2014 career mode. This is the career mode where we go from one of the worst teams in F1 2010, work our way up through the ranks and through the teams, and try and get a drive for one of the best teams in F1 2014. We're currently in the F1 2013 season at the Japanese Grand Prix. That's round 15 of Season 4. So, if you have missed any of the previous episode, go check out the card annotation in the top right-hand corner of your screens. You'll find a playlist there to go catch up with the whole entire series. If you've missed it and you want to go binge watch that, go find that there. You'll also find the previous episode in there as well. So, if you did miss the previous episode at Career, which was a great race for me, go check that one out. But here we are. Round 15, and looking at the standings after 14 rounds of this season, we are on 122 points, just behind Mark Webber in 5th. And looking to maybe try and close up on Mark Webber for that McLaren seat. Also close up on Nico Rosberg and Fernando Alonso for 3rd and 4th, which will be Williams and then Ferrari. But at the moment, it's a Force India seat for the time being, which is good, but it's not quite good enough, as we will be challenging for the 2014 season next, the championship next season. But looking at the emails going into today's race, we've already opened them. I'll explain that in a minute. It's our second race win of the season last time around at Korea. We also had a decent race, actually had some pace in the car at Korea, which is really, really nice to see. Don't need to look at the teammate battle because we're getting thrashed on that one. It's going to be nice and dry across the whole weekend in Japan, which we're very, very happy to see. But the reason we will not be doing qualifying here today is that I, in fact, actually did the qualifying and the race for the Japanese Grand Prix already. But unfortunately, my Elgato, which is my recording device for gameplay, decided not to work properly. And I couldn't use that file when it was completely gone. The whole file was completely gone. There was no recording at all. And before you say, yes, I did press record, I'm not that much of an idiot. But, unfortunately, that gameplay went, which is really annoying because it was such an entertaining race. So hopefully, fingers crossed, this race can be as entertaining, if not even more entertaining. Otherwise, I'm just going to cry because that race was absolutely amazing last time around. But that's why we've got no qualifying footage and we're heading straight into the race. And without any further ado, let's get this race underway. It's race day here at the Japanese Grand Prix as we have qualified in 10th position on the grid. A good qualifying session at the end of the day, but unfortunately it was only good enough for P10. I don't actually remember too much from qualifying. It's just a pretty standard lap. Just doing the one-shot qualifying. Unfortunately, P10 was the best that we could do. But hopefully, we can try and make up some ground down in towards Turn 1. However, Turn 1 is slightly different compared to other tracks. Whereas you've got other tracks where you could just straight up dive bomb it up to the inside and try and get as many positions as you possibly can. This one's quite tight, and it's also more of a slingshot. So you're not really braking too much down in towards Turn 1. It's more Turn 2 you've got to brake for and get the car turned in. And that's where you can have a bit of trouble, as everybody just sort of gets squeezed together. So we do have to be aware of that one and not make too many collisions down in towards Turn 1. Hopefully no collisions at all, but when it comes to my driving on a pad, that's not really guaranteed. However, race strategy for today, starting on option tyres and pitting for the primes of this cautious fuel strategy. And we don't need to look at teammate challenge. We don't need to embarrass myself anymore. I've already failed to record an episode of this Rags to Riches. We don't need to embarrass myself any further. And so nothing else to talk about. So let's head down to the track and get today's race underway. There is my teammate Fernando Alonso lining up in pole position for today with Nico Rosberg alongside him in 2nd. My championship rival at the moment, Mark Webber, is in 5th with myself in 10th. What can we do from 10th on the grid down in towards that very tight Turn 1? We can't dive bomb it like we usually do. As the lights come on now, we go to 5. Red lights. It is lights out and away we go for the Japanese Grand Prix. A great start compared to Jenson Button in that McLaren. Up the inside there of the McLaren driver. But what can we do down towards Turn 1? Up the inside of Raikkonen, getting the job done there. Not quite. Side by side now. Going into the back of Mark Webber. Well, not once, but twice. But then getting the inside of the Red Bull driver and getting the job done. So we now go around the outside of Nico Hülkenberg down in towards Turn 4. Side by side, there's Mercedes off the track. Sebastian Vettel's also run it wide. We're trying to get past him in towards the next couple of corners. Can't quite do it through there. Maybe through the Dunlop curve now against Sebastian Vettel. We'll have to wait and see what we can do. But so much stuff happening at the start of this race already. And I can tell you this race already gone better than when we did the first time around. So maybe it was a good thing that my Elgato decided not to record as I go to check. Yes, it is recording. Okay, we are in business as we try now to catch up to Sebastian Vettel on the Mercedes of Nico Rosberg. Actually, no, it's Lewis Hamilton. Nico Rosberg was the guy who run it wide. So Lewis Hamilton is in 2nd. And my teammate, Fernando Alonso, is in first. As I am really struggling with my voice now. It is starting to go. No, voice, come back to me. Oh, Sebastian Vettel looking for the overtake there on the Mercedes driver. Not quite able to make it stick, but he may have a go down in towards turn 1. And that usually is where the accidents happen. So Sebastian Vettel goes side by side with the Mercedes driver. Then there might possibly be a chance of a collision down towards turn 1. We can make up a couple of positions. There they go, side by side, down in towards turn 1. Who's going to come out on top between these two drivers? Vettel versus Hamilton. Hamilton runs it wide. And there we go, taking a very nice, easy P3 there. Lovely jubbly. We knew it was going to happen. It happened anyway. And Sebastian Vettel gets past Lewis Hamilton. We're in P3, and we're very happy with what's gone on there. Sebastian Vettel may have a move on Fernando Alonso down in towards 130R. Has he got the job done? Yes, he has. What a move there from Sebastian Vettel to get the job done on Fernando Alonso. But will Alonso come backing him down towards turn 1? We know turn 1 can be very tricky for the guy on the outside. So if Alonso can get the inside line, use the DRS to advantage, get the inside line, and possibly squeeze out Sebastian Vettel, we could be in a Ferrari 1-2. There goes Alonso on the right-hand side. Can he get the job done? No, he can't. He has to settle behind Sebastian Vettel for now, as Nico Hülkenberg had a little look up the inside of myself, but I squeezed the door on the Sauber driver, who actually squeezed out Mark Webber, who's got stuck on the outside, and Mark Webber's now dropped like a stone in water. He has gone all the way down to the back of the field because of what Nico Hülkenberg did there. And we've got a little bit of a gap, a little bit of breathing space. We've just got Nico Hülkenberg right on our tails. The tyre wear is starting to get a little bit serious. We're not coming into the pits until lap 6. We do have to be aware of that.
We're looking at the wear levels of your tyres, and they're heavily worn. If they continue to degrade at this rate, consider pitting.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. I realise my tyres are heavily worn at the moment, mainly at the fronts, which means I do still have a bit of grip out of the slow corners, but turning into them is a big struggle at the moment. We'll see how we do in towards the spoon curve. Not too bad through there, but this one is the part where we're actually struggling at. Look at that running wide, and that allows Nico Hülkenberg to have a little look up the inside there in towards the second part. Mark Webber now coming back at us after that mistake that he made round the outside of Nico Hülkenberg earlier on. And we're going to have to start thinking about defending from Mark Webber very soon. But we'll be coming into pits on the next lap, so we just need to hold out one more lap on these tyres. Can we do that? Come on. It's going to be difficult. Just look at the tyres through that final corner. But now now Mark Webber's going to have a look at us down in towards turn 1. We've got the outside line down in towards this corner. We've got nothing to defend with. There's no point trying to defend there on Mark Webber. We may have a look up the inside, though, in towards turn 2, side by side with Mark Webber. Wow! Nico Hülkenberg, out of nowhere, just barges me out of the way and takes that position. Now, that was not very fair, Nico. But, I mean, at the same time, I was sort of squeezing out Mark Webber, and my tyre wear is atrocious right now, so I don't blame him for it. But Nico Hülkenberg was just, like, had enough. He was fed up of being held behind me. He wanted to get past. He took the position. And there he goes up into P3. Right, just watch these tyres in towards this hairpin. Just look at how bad it is. I've got a Mercedes having a look up the inside now of Lewis Hamilton. Can't even get the car turned in right now. Now accelerating out the corner. All over the place. All over the place right now. There is just no grip and no acceleration in this car as Mark Webber all over my tail. I'm trying to just block the middle of the track right now. Give these guys nowhere to go to try and get past me. Trying to turn in for the spoon curve. Just not happening. And the second part again, just not happening. The grip, the tyre wear levels is just atrocious. Look at that. It's so red. So red at the moment. So we're just going to put it down towards Limix, even though we're going through 130R. We're not really going to be thinking about overtaking. Mark Webber struggling to get through 130R without lifting off through there, because we just, again, don't have the grip in the front. In towards the chicane section. We don't want Hamilton on the right-hand side because he's not going to be coming into pits on this lap. Into the pits we go, though, just about, despite losing the back end. And there we go, finally coming into the pit lane. Sorry, I've got a really bad cough at the moment. Hence why I'm just trying to keep in this cough, and everything's just so exciting. I need to just breathe at the moment. And now I've been held up. I've been held up by these guys. That's not what I need. That is not what I need in this race. I don't need to be held up, and those guys pitted around me. They are still behind me, but I've lost out to the guys who did decide to stay out. Coming out, though, in P12 on track, I've got Roman Grosjean just ahead of me in 11th. I'm not too sure what on earth happened to him, whether he just pitted a couple of laps earlier or he had a collision out on track. Maybe he had a collision. I mean, there's a lot of collisions going on down in towards turn 1, so that is definitely a possibility. Got Romain Grosjean and Guido van der Garde going side by side down towards the spoon curve. Romain Grosjean gets the job done on the slow Caterham driver. Obviously, he is struggling with tyre wear as well as being just a simple back marker. We'll be looking to maybe get past Guido van der Garde down in towards 130R. We are gaining on him down this straight. He's probably going to lift off through this next corner, so we do have to be aware of that one and whereabouts he brakes. Gaining on him so much now. We're just going to dive it up the inside in towards the chicane. And there we go, job done on Guido van der Garde, trying to close up on Romain Grosjean, who decides to stay out for now. But is he on a two-stopper because of having a collision earlier on? We're just going to have to wait and see. A couple of drivers coming out of the pits. Those two going to be going side by side. Surely, no, not quite. Okay, I thought they might have been going side by side. But Lewis Hamilton coming out just behind Romain Grosjean. Can we get the Mercedes guy? It's probably going to be unlikely, but we'll see what we can do. Closing up actually quite a bit on Lewis Hamilton after he's come straight out of the pits now. Can we do anything on the Mercedes driver? Going down in towards the two Degner curves. Might be able to have an opportunity through here. Possibly. He's still stuck behind Romain Grosjean at the moment. Maybe be able to have a look up in towards the hairpin. Right behind the Mercedes driver now. Braking up the inside in towards the hairpin. Just putting my nose up there. Getting the job done. Maybe. Yes, there we go. Job done on Lewis Hamilton. Up into P6. And now hunting down Romain Grosjean for P5. We're -1 lap of fuel at the moment. Once I get past Romain Grosjean, I'll put it back down to lean. Yeah, I know that, Jeff. Not quite yet, not quite yet. Right behind Romain Grosjean now, down in towards 130R. We're in rich mix. We're on the tail of the Lotus driver. Will we even have to go side by side into the corner? I think we might have to. Can we get the job done before, though? Yes, we can. There we go. Job done on Romain Grosjean. Up into P4 at 5. And now hunting down Mark Webber. Actually, we may see. If we close up onto Mark Webber, then I will keep it on rich mix until we get the job done on him as well. As Romain Grosjean was actually coming into the pits on this lap, so it didn't actually matter that we got past him. But still, it's nice to make an overtake. Damn it, we're closing up on Mark Webber at the moment, but just not by enough. We're just not closing him up quickly enough, and we need to put it down to lean mix. I'd much rather get P5 than not finish today's race, and we are running it very, very risky now to not finishing the race because of running out of fuel. Right then, here goes Lewis Hamilton down in towards turn 1. We need to try and defend against him. I don't think we're going to be able to do that. No, we're not. But will he run it wide? Will we have a look up the inside? A little bit of contact between the two of us, side by side, between myself and Lewis Hamilton. Very, very aggressive between the two of us. But nevertheless, we get the job done. And that is all that matters. I want to hold on to P5. I know how quick Lewis Hamilton is at the moment. I know I should really be helping him to try and get that championship, but at the end of the day, I still want to get P5. It's all about me. It's all about getting the best drive I possibly can for next season. Lewis Hamilton, though, is going to have a great opportunity to go for the overtake down in towards 130R. I'm going to defend the inside line. He's tucked up behind me. He's going to have to go around the outside into 130R if he wants to get the job done. Here we go through the corner, and he has to lift off massively. Otherwise, there would have been a collision. Mark Webber's actually catching up to a guy ahead of us, so, I mean, we can only hope that Mark Webber has a bit of contact with him by the end of the race. It's very close between 4th and 3rd at the moment. If they can have a big enough contact that takes both of them out of the race, that'd be absolutely incredible. But we're still running it close with the -1 fuel. That's not good enough. We need to hit optimal very, very soon. Here goes Lewis Hamilton once again down in towards 130R. Once again, we're taking the defensive line, but not the best of lines through that corner either. And Lewis Hamilton nearly getting the overtake on us, but we've got more important things to worry about. We are still on... No, we've not! Hallelujah! We're on optimal fuel once again. Thank goodness for that. I thought we were going to be on -1 on this final lap, and it was going to be scary. Right, Lewis Hamilton coming at us down in towards turn 1. He's going to have to go around the outside if he wants to get the job done, which he doesn't do there. And I hold on to position once again. Okay, then, not long now until the end of this race. We're still on this final lap here. Mark Webber is right behind the guy who is in P3. So, fingers crossed, there is a collision between these two. I need a miracle. I need a miracle in this race if I want to get a better result than P5. Fernando Alonso, though, wins today's Japanese Grand Prix. Great result there for my teammate. He got pole position and he's got the race win as well as Lewis Hamilton tries to go for the overtake around the outside in towards 130. The racing's not over yet between the two of us. He's still holding it on my right-hand side down in towards this final chicane, getting the car turned in. He's still there. Can he get the job done? He's done the switchback maneuver. Great overtake there from Lewis Hamilton to do the switchback maneuver. It's disappointment from me, but it's still P6 at a track where I do not tend to do well at. Unfortunately, losing out on P5 at the end, it's really, really disappointing, especially as my teammate went on to win the race. But today, I just did not have the pace. I just did not have the pace of the leaders. As you can tell, look, we were best lap 136. Actually, we were faster than the two guys ahead of us. But unfortunately, yeah, just not having the pace of the guys around us. And unfortunately, yeah, losing out to Lewis Hamilton right at the end. It was Nico Hülkenberg who gets on the podium today, though. Great result there for the Sauber driver. But Fernando Alonso wins today's race with Sebastian Vettel in second, Nico Hülkenberg third, Mark Webber in fourth, with Lewis Hamilton in fifth, myself in sixth, Jenson Button seventh, Kimi Räikkönen in eighth, Nico Rosberg in ninth, with Paul di Resta 10th, and Esteban Gutierrez and Sergio Perez just missing out on the points here today. Romain Grosjean finished in 14th place. Not a good day there for the Lotus driver. Any other surprises? No, and no DNFs as well, apart from Max Chilton and Guido van der Garde getting past the Toro Rosso driver of Daniel Ricciardo. So, those are your race standings for today. Let's have a look at the drivers' standings after today's race. Unfortunately, losing a bit of ground to Mark Webber. 13 points now is the gap to the Red Bull driver. We are way off the pace of Fernando Alonso, who now has a 60-point lead over us, and there's a 31-point lead for Nico Rosberg over us as well. But there are still 8 races left to go. 8 races left to go this 2013 season. We could easily get into the top 3 this season. Not too sure about the top 2. We just have to wait and see about that one. But there's now 9 points separating both of those guys. So it'd be interesting to see what can happen over the course of the rest of the season between the two championship leaders. Looking at the Constructors' Championship now, 326 points. A good day for Ferrari, closing up the gap to Mercedes. The gap now 95. Red Bull closing up the gap to Mercedes. The gap between those two 27. So very close at the moment between the two top constructors, and we are getting our noses in there as well. Can we catch up by the end of the season? We just have to wait and see. But that's it for today's Japanese Grand Prix. If you have enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so for daily Formula 1 content. And also don't forget to share this video with your friends. And I will see you next time at the Indian Grand Prix. But until then, it's goodbye from me.